Thank you so much for joining us today, Richard. We appreciate it. Can we start by you introducing yourself? Tell us about yourself, what you're doing now, and we can use that as a way to kind of start the conversation.
Yeah, sure thing. Thank you so much. Yeah, my name is Richard Taubin. My background is in information systems. I got my degree at University of Texas in San Antonio. I've been working in the technology space since I was 13. Wrote my first little program on the Commodore VIC-20, all the way up until starting a digital marketing company, which I've had for 10 years. Started an AI company a year and a half ago when I saw that was shifting our industry, and really relative to my background, and then also in the VR space as well. So yeah, hey, I am the owner and founder of the digital marketing company, an AI company, and a VR company.
Absolutely. So you're at the intersection of a lot of really interesting times right now, right? And so let's kind
It's
of start big. You're all over the place with marketing and AI and VR and all that. So, but
Yeah.
what are we seeing today? Like, what do you think is happening in the AI space that everyone needs to know about?
Well, the first thing I tell everybody is to become a prompt engineer, know how to interact with artificial intelligence. And just like with, I saw a professor give a speech recently about using AI in the classes about writing papers, and he said, "Yes, I want you to use AI, but I want to see your prompts."
Mm,
Because it's not about the answers, it's about the question. Because if you get the context and the questions that you're asking right, then you understand the concept of what you're trying to get. So I think, of all the things that are out there, it's all generative, right? Copy, video, images. It's all about how you prompt. So I would say that's really the biggest thing at this point.
okay, absolutely. Now, you do a lot of marketing kind of stuff, so prompting and getting those things right is important. So what have you seen within your sphere of marketing over the past year about AI that really got you the most excited?
Um, uh, Being able to do a discovery on our clients has become much easier. We're able to actually provide them a discovery almost before we even talk to them because of all their digital presence that they currently have. We can get a digital footprint using AI with web crawlers. If they've done interviews on YouTube, we're able to gather and garner all that information and be able to understand where they are before we even talk to them. So we now give them a discovery document and ask them to true it up
Mm.
as a starter, and it could be done in minutes, as opposed to a lengthy several hour conversation where we have to digest all of that and then provide a discovery document. So it's changed everything that we do in digital marketing, and the reason why I pivoted to AI is because I knew that will be a major role in how we're going to go forward.
Absolutely. Now, it feels like AI is everywhere, right? And it feels like, I hope of Spotify and I have, DJX and, I have chatbots everywhere. Like it kind of feels everywhere. From your experience, can you give us some examples of how you've deployed AI that have had a significant impact beyond the customer discovery you talked about? Some other examples, maybe to kind of give us some flavor of some things of interest?
Yeah, so in data analysis, we're working with some companies to do like preventive maintenance. So we have a client with like 20 years of maintenance records for some very high-end HVA systems, right? Very boring type of scenario, but the company is actually sitting on a treasure trove of data. So for those particular units, you have 25 years of problem issues and maintenance records and how they fixed it. Now you have an expert on those things. I mean, it's a very unusual, isolation of how to use AI, but it's from that to now in marketing being able to take a garment and put it on a person and then create a video out of it. It's everything in between.
And absolutely, and what you're talking about is the intersection between VR and AI, right? Where you're really blending all of these kind of interesting technologies together. But as you're going and working with your clients,
Mhm.
as you approach them, what are you finding is a challenge? Like, what are they struggling with respect to AI specifically?
I think just really understanding it and using it and not knowing how to use it and what it can provide to them. And honestly, what's really interesting is a lot of people are fearful of it. They're intimidated by it and they think it's going to replace them. And I said, no, it's going to assist you. No, it's giving you more. more an advantage of actually producing quicker, and giving ideations are really good for that, to help your business or help you personally.
And I know that fear is a concern, right? So, and I know you probably have to confront that a lot. So, what's your method? What techniques or approaches do you suggest to ensure overcome that objection? Because it's a pretty standard objection today right now.
So we ask them what is a pain point that you have, and some of those pain points, we take one and we just show them how to use artificial intelligence to address it, and then they say, oh, I get it now. And so just taking an example and showing them, like for instance in the VR space, instead of telling them about what it is, we show them what it does, and then they see how they can use it for their business.
Absolutely. Now, part of that fear is concerned with responsibility, right? And
Mhm.
and the ethics of getting ahead of where it gets too far ahead of us. So how do you handle, or how do you start to think about designing AI responsibly? What does that look like to you? Like, what do you think are the most important responsible attributes that we need with AI?
That's a very, very, very good question, and point. I think Anthropic is kind of leading that a lot of ways, with the guardrails, essentially. I look at language models as a human brain, right? And so if you have a child that was taught certain things, they're going to probably be bad, or they're going to be good, or maybe a little indifferent. And the same thing, we want to put guardrails on the way that the models are thinking and what they produce. So and this is actually a challenge, because you can manipulate some of the models to give you results, like how to create a bomb, or things like that, and try to circumvent that. But it is it is definitely something that we need to know what it is, and we need to put it in place. And to that point, there was a time when everybody said, "Hey, we need to pause on AI right now. Let's slow it down." And I was thinking, well, the people that might use this nefariously are not going to stop and slow it down. We need
No,
to
they're
be
not.
all over this. I was really confused why everybody was saying stop, because there's people that are not going to stop, especially when you have open models that you can train yourself. So,
Right. So okay, so as we think about this ethics and the guardrails, and you brought up prompt engineering, a student out here is sitting saying, "I'm interested, but this is scary." How does a student who maybe is interested in prompt engineering, where do they go to start? Do they go to YouTube? Do they go to books? Where do you start to think about getting yourself educated in that area particularly?
well, it just so happens that I just had an interview with a potential intern that's a senior at LSU, and she's in marketing. And I asked her, I said, well, have you worked with AI? And she says, not at all. And I said, well, I mean, she uses it, but not to the marketing side. And I said, what about Midjourney? And she didn't know about that either. And so the way to get started, and I told her, I said, well, what are you passionate about? She goes, well, I do love marketing. I love fashion. And I said, I'll tell you what, I said, you can be a prompt engineer to take these garments and put them on people and turn it into advertising for an apparel shop. And now you're not only using marketing, but you're using the latest technology. And I said, if you're looking for a job and you have that on your resume, you're going to be, so do a deep dive on that. And I said, that's where you can start. And I said, and I told her, I said, it's not programming, it's just language. You just prompt it what you need. These models are ready for you to just put it all in context, and then you get the results.
Absolutely. So as you think about that, and you think about because as prompting has evolved and we see the models get stronger and stronger,
Yep.
what do you foresee? Where does this go? Like, what is most exciting to you as you think about AI moving forward?
Agents, workflows, automations. And when you have smaller models and you have IoT devices and you have vision and you have listening and you have vocal. I mean, it's going to get to a point where you pretty much run anything with it. Prime example is a $250 NVIDIA card, like a Raspberry, Pi. Putting that onto your camera at your house, and you can train it to visually watch, and track cars coming in and out of your driveway. And I saw a
Right.
person do it on YouTube, and I was like, and this is like today.
Absolutely.
That technology is there. So if this is the worst it's going to get, it's going to be a little crazy going forward.
Well, yeah, and I think curiosity is going to drive a lot of this moving forward, right? People being curious and just playing and experimenting for sure, right? So, for someone who may not be in an AI powered profession necessarily, as our last question, what advice do you give someone as they enter a brand new world shaped by AI, where we are working alongside agents, and you may or may not know it's an agent or a person? That sounds scary. So, what advice do you give to someone as they kind of think about that world in the future as we move forward?
Well, I would say, YouTube is great. X is really great too. X has been a space where I'm able to use the spaces to talk to AI engineers, because that's where they talk to their community and they
Mm,
welcome other people to learn. So that's a really great space that I've been able to do that. As a matter of fact, I met some people in spaces that were that I invited to speak when I was a
wow,
keynote speaker for AI at the Louisiana Energy Conference, and they were the engineers. So I said, "Hey guys, I got the guys who actually train these models right here
that's
to
awesome.
talk to." So I would say YouTube, and follow people that are to vet them. They have a lot of followers, and they produce some really good information. But the ones that I follow most in the beginning was prompt engineering. That was the very beginning, and then apply it to what you know. Do some testing and examples of in your space of what you do. So
Wonderful. Well, Richard, thank you so much for your time today. I know you're busy, so I appreciate the time you provided. Take
yeah,
care.
thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. It's a pleasure. Thank you.